So to claim that there's no proof is not a correct claim. He doesn't need to have downloaded or transferred the pictures.
3 dozen protesters gathered to protest a district attorney decision.
3 BYU students make masks that can filter out 99% of particles.
A Utah ICU nurse is a contestant in the show American Ninja Warrior. Welcome to Newsline. It's Thursday, October 22nd. I'm Joseph Carson.
And I'm Allie Arnold.
Protesters surround the district attorney's office demanding justice for Lauren McCluskey.
Ashley Ward went to the protest last night.
About 40 people gathered to protest the district attorney's decision to not prosecute the officer in charge of Lauren McCluskey's case.
We have to knock on doors. We have to find a candidate who is going to get Sim Gill out of office, because we cannot continue another term of this.
The officer allegedly showed explicit pictures of Lauren to other officers that were not involved in the case. Those photos were gathered for Lauren's extortion case.
Where is the honor in telling women and people affected by domestic violence and the violating act of non-consensual sharing of personal photos that regardless of how much evidence they have, they simply cannot help you?
The protesters placed signs that say "Justice for Lauren," requesting that the district attorney overturn his decision.
Vote him out! Vote him out! Vote him out!
The University of Utah released a statement saying, quote, "There was no found evidence that the former officer bragged or shared any image from the investigation that wasn't considered a legitimate law enforcement reason."
So to claim that there's no proof is not a correct claim. He doesn't need to have downloaded or transferred the pictures.
Sam Gill told the Associated Press that the officer's actions were, quote, "definitely reckless," but there is no state law that addresses this misconduct. Reporting for Newsline in Salt Lake City, I'm Ashley Ward.
Thanks, Ashley. In a press conference, the president of the University of Utah agrees that the university failed McCluskey. Her parents will receive $13.5 million, and the school will construct a track facility in her name.
Republican Senator Mitt Romney confirms that he did not vote to re-elect President Trump and will not say exactly who he did vote for. Romney is the only senator in history to vote to remove a president from his own party from office when he voted to impeach Trump. And this vote reflects another choice to break from party patterns.
Attorney General candidates debated on legal, political, and personal issues last night. Utah's current Attorney General, Sean Reyes, was challenged by Greg Skordas. Topics ranged from campaigning funds, enforcement of laws they do not agree with, and each other's legal histories. And things got just a little bit heated.
70% of them gave him the lowest possible score, saying things like, "Greg took my case and lied to me about my options," or "he lied to my face and misled me into accepting a deal," or "he lied to me and my family."
Utahns voted. It's the mandate of the people. It was a majority of the people. It's been 2 years, and nothing has been done about it except talk.
Attorney General is not a policy-making role. However, they do weigh in on some policy decisions. Primarily, they are responsible for the enforcement of our law in our state's courts. The election is 12 days from today.
A man is accused of setting a woman on fire. 44-year-old Andrew Curtis is accused of pouring flammable liquid onto a 34-year-old woman and then setting her on fire. The woman was set on fire around 3 a.m. at Studio 6 Hotel in Murray this morning. She was admitted into the University of Utah Burn Center with burns over 70% of her body. Curtis is now being sought by the police.
A Roy High School teacher is arrested after being involved in a child sex scam. Police arrested 30-year-old high school teacher Brady Allen after he tried to meet up with the detective posing as a 13-year-old for sex. The undercover detective communicated with Allen, saying that Allen asked for nude photos and used sexual language. According to charging documents, Allen is now booked into the Davis County Jail for enticing a minor by internet and sexual exploitation of a minor.
Several Utah schools are experiencing a higher number of positive COVID-19 cases. Box Elder District has decided to start classes 1 hour later than usual in order to support teachers helping students who are quarantining. Hunter High School and Farmington High School have moved to online classes. The total number of COVID-19 cases in the state of Utah is more than 98,000. More than 900,000 people have been tested, following a total of 1 million tests reported. There are almost 5,000 hospitalization cases and 557 deaths. Hospitals all across Utah are experiencing overflows in their intensive care units. Dixie Regional Medical Care in St. George has filed all of its intensive care unit beds before going over its 32-bed capacity of its ICU. The University of Utah Hospital has also exceeded its ICU capacity, forcing them to open an overflow unit. The real struggle is having enough doctors and additional staff to work the extra shifts required to assist the overflow patients.
Some BYU students have developed a better cloth mask that filters out up to 99% of hazardous particles, including COVID-19. NewsLine reporter Catherine Bennett takes us to the lab to explain how the new mask works.
Avant Design Group approached BYU with the revolutionary idea of using electrospinning to create tiny nanofibers as a filter inside the mask. They selected a team of 3 BYU students to research and develop the mask. Electrospinning involves dissolving polymer plastic and then pushing it through a needle at a high voltage.
You push it through at high voltage, it kind of stretches the plastic or the polymer out of the solution in really thin fibers. And then because they're all charged the same, like, they're all charged positively or they're all charged negatively, they don't like being together, so they kind of spread out all over the place.
The nanofiber filter attracts particles that stick instead of going through the mask. Normal cloth masks filter 50% of particles, while these nanofiber masks filter 99% of particles.
You could be able to look up online how to electrospin with the things around you and what things you might need to buy, and you could make the mask yourself.
According to Professor David Fullwood, one of the head professors over the project, a large part of the development involves making equipment that anyone can replicate, specifically in rural areas.
And they could either put them on fabric that they have, or they could sandwich it between fabric layers, and then they could turn any kind of a fabric into a really good filtering device.
Reporting for NewsLine at Brigham Young University, I'm Catherine Bennett.
Social media advocate Colin Karchner died at age 40 due to unknown reasons. Karchner was known for his campaign that urged parents to keep their children away from social media. His wife, Elizabeth, confirmed his death on Tuesday by posting a memoir on Instagram. A GoFundMe set by Karchner's friends to help pay for funeral costs shows how much he influenced others. More than $186,000 were donated by 3.1 thousand donors in less than 20 hours.
Tooele police need your help to find a 14-year-old girl who's missing. Mia Richards has been missing since Monday, October 20th. The teen told her family that she was going to meet with her friends, but disappeared. Richards is 5 feet 2 inches tall with hazel eyes and faded pink, blue, and black hair. If you see Mia or know her whereabouts, contact Detective Lopez by calling 435-882-5600.
Utah domestic violence numbers are higher than the national average. The month of October is dedicated to bringing awareness to domestic violence. NewsLine reporter Mandy Welker tells us how victims can reach out for help.
If you ever have a loved one do this, it's a cry for help. These hand motions are used to inform you that they are experiencing domestic abuse. Reports show that 1 in 3 women in the state of Utah will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. An individual, who will not be identified, described their experience in a Facebook post. It reads, "I was a victim of child abuse. I want to add my voice to all of those advocating for the necessary changes that need to happen to prevent these horrible things. The Utah Domestic Violence Coalition provides support to victims and promotes prevention. Domestic violence is often associated with physical or sexual abuse, but the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition explains how it's much more than that."
And I do think sometimes just the term domestic violence, people hear the violence part and think, well, that's not me then.
When asked why victims have a hard time leaving abusive situations, the coalition explains that
I think because they're usually with someone who they love, and it isn't uncommon for someone to still have feelings of love towards somebody who's abusive to them.
there are things we can do to help prevent domestic abuse. Start by talking openly about the harms and dangers of pornography. Learn about and teach your family about consent and boundaries. Educate and discuss healthy sexuality and appropriate behavior. Learn of and be on the lookout for grooming and predatory behavior. Trust yourself when you see something that makes you uncomfortable. If you feel you're in a domestic violence situation, you're not alone. For more help, call the Utah 24-Hour Sexual Violence Crisis Line, 1-800-421-1100. Reporting for NewsLine, I'm Mandy Welker.
An ICU nurse from southern Utah competes on American Ninja Warrior.
She deserves it, putting herself out there on the front line during the coronavirus pandemic. pandemic. And now, look at her. Come on, get out of there, get out of there. Her family's about to go nuts.
This was Mandy Howard's second season on the show, and she's already made it farther than last year, reaching the end of all the obstacles in the qualifier course. Howard is a former gymnast from Southern Utah University. She was not quite done competing after graduation either and continued training, working her way up to American Ninja Warrior.
A Colorado woman has a close encounter with a deer.
Kept coming towards us, and then all of a sudden it put its head down.
See the chase and the results. A woman who is 9 months pregnant runs a mile in less than 6 minutes.
The temperature's dropping across the country this weekend. Who's getting snow and how much you'll need to bundle up coming up.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
President Trump and Joe Biden get one more time to share a primetime television stage. This is likely President Trump's final opportunity to make a closing argument for a second term. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has not let up his criticism of President Trump's handling of the pandemic. Candidates' microphones will be briefly muted while their opponent gives his 2-minute response to each question.
Senate Judiciary Committee Republicans powered past a Democratic boycott to advance Amy Coney Barrett's Supreme Court nomination to the full Senate. This keeps President Trump's pick on track for confirmation before Election Day. All 12 Republicans on the panel voted in favor of Barrett. The final confirmation vote is expected Monday.
The short-form video app Quibi is shutting down after just 6 months online. The platform offers short-form videos with big production budgets, but made for mobile devices. The company has struggled since launching during the pandemic. Quibi says its subscribers will receive notifications regarding the last day they can access the platform.
A Colorado woman is gored by a deer after he chases her for a mile. The woman filmed the video says she wasn't sure if the buck was mad or curious until he put his head down and rammed his antlers into the back of her neighbor's leg. The El Paso County neighborhood has experienced 2 different deer attacks in just 4 days, presumably from the same deer.
Some say when you're pregnant, you're eating for 2. Well, this California woman is running for 2.
The pregnant woman ran a mile in under 6 minutes. Rachel, tell us more about the story.
Yeah, folks, this really is an incredible feat. The former BYU runner finished the mile not only pregnant, but just a week before her due date.
Big push, let's go.
The video went viral on social media with millions of jaws dropping. 28-year-old McKenna Myler, who's originally from Australia but now lives in California, has been running 5 or 6 times a week during her pregnancy after 2 doctors cleared her to keep running while pregnant. The product trainer says her husband bet her $100 she couldn't break an 8-minute mile while 9 months pregnant. She took the bet and crushed the goal by 2.5 minutes, coming in at 5 minutes and 25 seconds. To give you some perspective, Runner's World says the average pace for a woman is a 10-minute, 40-second mile. Now let's take a look at some reactions in the comments. Ella says, not to flex, but in 2nd grade, I walked a 36-minute mile. Samantha says, I can only assume that before pregnancy, it took her 30 seconds to run a mile. Cameron says, I say you owe her $100 for every minute wrong you were. I'd agree with that. I think she deserves it. And finally, the Bauer family says, baby is going to come out in 5 minutes and 24 seconds saying, beat you, Mom. So as you can see, people are pretty excited about this. We're certainly impressed here in the studio. Back to you.
A kitchen worker from Provo Rehab and Nursing delivers leftover food to BYU students. NewsLine reporter Lizeth Vejar is at the kitchen worker's house to tell us why she does it and how the students react.
Very often, the Provo Rehab and Nursing home has lots of leftovers. Instead of throwing them away, as most food places do, Jessica, one of the kitchen workers there, blesses others with it.
I'm so grateful that I have this food to give to other people.
Jessica's roommates came up with the idea after Jessica told her about all the food she had to throw out. She put a post on the LDS World Facebook page looking for busy BYU students who could use a free meal.
I am amazed by what Jessica's been doing because it just shows how much love and care she has for other people.
Many WAR members answered to the post, so she made a list with names, addresses, the numbers of people, and food preferences. Jessica began delivering the meals the next day.
It's really simple and easy for me to just drop it off on my way home from work.
Jessica puts the food in the individual containers, takes them on the bus, delivers them, and then walks back to her home.
I'm really grateful to Jessica for bringing the food over. It's been really helpful since it's been a busy week, just to have it there.
Jessica has a very shy personality and doesn't like to stand out. That's why she doesn't want any recognition for what she's doing. But the grateful students say her good heart and service to them will live her forever in their memories. Whenever the MTC reopens, Jessica is going to come back to her cafeteria working there. But as long as she keeps working in the Provo Rehab nursing home, she's gonna keep feeding busy BYU students. This is Lizeth Vejar reporting for NewsLine.
Thanks, Lizeth.
A BYU student spent a year traveling around the world on a life-changing journey. NewsLine reporter Emily Roberts tells us the story of 7 continents Sam Allred.
One crazy idea turned into a worldwide adventure.
That feeling like getting on the plane it was January 1st. It was literally like New Year's Day, like 4 a.m. and getting on a plane, and I just had like my backpack and my penny board, and I was going to London. Like right from that first moment, even though I was scared, I was like, I want my whole life to have this feeling.
Determined to find himself and his future, Sam's journey began in England. Next, Switzerland, India, Hong Kong, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, New Zealand, Fiji, Hawaii, Australia, South Africa, Argentina, and finally, Antarctica.
Wherever I go, if I'm going to be there for a semester, if I'm going to be there for a year, if I'm going to be there a week, treat it as though I'm going to be there forever.
It wasn't perfect. Often Sam found himself with no money relying on online business startups, sometimes sleeping on the floor of the airport.
Now I was living in Africa on the airport floor, writing resumes for immigrants in Australia so that I could get enough money.
The final boat trip to Antarctica all came down to an online fundraiser with a miraculous result.
There's this dock, and you can walk all the way out to the end, and at the end of the world, there's literally just like a bench sitting there, like looking out across the Drake, just being there on that bench at the end of the world after all the work that had went into that year, and seeing how like the final hardest part, that like the way it would be accomplished was going to be through something that like it wasn't through me, like it was like the generosity of like others.
One day before the boat left, donations poured in.
To the penny, that a random viral fundraiser would raise just enough to the penny to get me home for Christmas with my family to be able to like enjoy that. Like, I stand all amazed.
Sam told me that the best parts of his trip were the people he met on the way.
That I went to, I just have like the names of people and things like about them like on this map. So when you're in those moments, know that's right where God wants you to be.
There's something magical about a winter wonderland, except when it shows up in October. This is some footage from Minneapolis this week. It's unseasonably early to see snowfall. All I know is the kids prepping for Halloween are gonna have to reevaluate their Halloween costumes and make sure they're warm for what will definitely be a cold Halloween night. And speaking of cold nights, tonight is the first night that we will see temperatures dropping below 32 degrees. It is the first freeze of the season, and we're seeing temperatures drop around the entire country. You can see this cold front that is going to be sweeping the south. But what I'm particularly concerned about for Utah is this polar front that's coming up. As you can see by our lovely color code, we are hitting temperatures right here that are in the single digits. Now it's hopefully going to warm up a little more before it actually gets to us in Utah, but we can already see today that temperatures are dropping. We have Logan with a high of 48, low of 25, Salt Lake City with a high of 52, low of 31, Wendover, high of 53, low of 29. Here in Provo, we're still fighting with a high of 56, low of 29. In Vernal, we have 64 degrees as the high and 25 degrees as the low. Now, northern Utah has kind of given up and tried to keep it cold, but we have southern Utah that is still putting up a fight. The long-term fight, though, is going to go to the weather. We have their high of 79 degrees tomorrow, and Saturday you'll have a high of 78, but this weekend you will see some chances of rain and even some snow with your high of 69 and 51. Your Monday low even getting down to 34 degrees. It'll get a little warmer on Tuesday with that high of 60, low of 39. But in northern Utah, we are already going to see that we have lost the battle against the weather. Tomorrow, your high is only going to be 59 degrees with a low of 37. And we're going to get some cloud coverage on Saturday with a high of 65, low of 33. And Sunday is where you're going to need those snow boots. You're going to need those warm jackets because it'll only be a high of 43 with a low of 20. Monday, Tuesday, it's still going to kind of stay cooler. We won't have any of that snow or rainfall to worry about, but you're going to be in the low 20s and mid 20s. So make sure that you are set and you are ready to go for this cold weather that is coming up. Back to you.
A Provo man decides to make the world a more beautiful place, one alleyway at a time.
And I thought, why not do a giant? I just wanted to go as big as I could. It's like, I'm just going to.
We'll show you his creations coming up.
Stuck indoors? See how stir-crazy young people are finding ways to bring the outdoors into their homes with the help of dirt, water, and a little sunlight.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
One local artist is taking matters into his own hands and using a deserted alley as the canvas for his newest pieces. Our reporter Ashley Chase went on site to explore the why behind these new murals.
Those wandering behind a tattoo parlor and car repair shop might expect the abandoned building, but certainly not the art painted on the side of it. Artist Ike Bushman recently completed 2 murals on the wall and building outside of his makeshift studio.
And I thought, why not do a giant? I just wanted to go as big as I could.
Bushman based one mural on reaching out in a self-centered society with the phrase "to see beyond the inside." The other piece, which reads, "If only you could see you like I see you," represents the perspective of his 10-year-old son Axel, who is nonverbal due to autism.
And it was me, maybe a way to communicate with him. But also I wonder if sometimes he thinks the same thing.
Bushman is known for his style of painting mantras in layers on top of each other, using blankets, printmaking, old shirts, blinds, faux fur, and stuffed animals. Bushman says that Axel inspires much of his art and created the stuffed animal sculptures based on Axel's habit of spitting out chocolate milk.
And these sculptures are kind of an extension of that, where it's, these large stuffed animals that I'm pouring paint on, kind of in representation of the chocolate milk.
One of the meth users that used to hang around the abandoned alley felt the impact of Bushman's art when reading the words on the mural outside, "I wish you could see you like I see you."
And then she started crying. And I was like, oh wow, somehow that got into her.
Bushman has some ideas in the works for new projects and wants to keep the future open to explore a variety of art styles.
I guess my art is all over the place. Different mediums, different ideas. And so I kind of just want to continue that.
Until then, you can follow Bushman at Contemporary Ike on Instagram or as his full name on Facebook to keep up with his latest projects. This is Ashley Chase reporting.
Have you bought a plant or two to spruce up your home? You're not alone. Plant parenting continues to trend amongst younger generations as people find ways to get a taste of the outside when they're stuck inside. Scroll through social media nowadays and you'll find a variety of plant-filled homes filling up your feed. And the trend isn't the only thing fueling plant demand across the U.S. People are looking for ways to bring life into homes that feel a bit dreary. Sun River Gardens in Orem is a local nursery that caters to every level of plant owner and sees a promising trend among younger buyers looking for trendy plants.
A lot of young people may even have 10, 20, 30, as high as 60 or 80 plants in their house. The young people have really found the health in plants and found the beauty in plants, kind of it just fits into their lifestyle.
Even before the pandemic, plants provided a desired aesthetic to homes. Now, plants serve a bigger purpose, peace and security amongst times of uncertainty. Practical plants, like vegetable seeds and fruit trees, provided peace of mind when grocery store shelves emptied.
It did shock some into the awareness of, hey, I might need to have more of my food growing at home and stuff like that.
Apartments bloom as students like Maddie Lowe find plants make living spaces more welcoming and come with practical rewards.
Kind of like a night.
A Utah toddler befriends someone who's all bones and no brawn.
That's right. This toddler's best friends with a fake skeleton. Abigail Brady's son, Theo, found the old Halloween decoration down in the basement. She says he was instantly smitten. Brady says her son named his skeleton pal Benny after the taxi-driving skeleton in the movie Halloween Town. Now Benny goes everywhere with Theo, including on trips to the beach at a nearby reservoir and to the grocery store. Mom admits she's gotten some weird looks. Theo's mom wants to try and put Benny away after the holiday, but for now, it's a rattling good friendship. Thanks for joining us today for Newsline.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu/newsline.
Have a great day.
I wish I had a skeleton best friend. Me too. If the world were perfect, we'd all